All right, heyo, heyo. J-Mac here, part 3 of Hacktober, working on Shift Blueprint. Last week I started this saga of working on a meta key for customizations. This would allow you to begin customizing things inside of Blueprint outside of the Laravel conventions. So for example, table names, class extension, things of that nature. And we kind of got the basics of that working in the last stream. I spent a little bit of time off stream starting to work on some of the things that are additional to that, some of the kind of like the downstream repercussions of that. And it actually turns out to be a lot. And I kind of rambled on at the end, I think, of last stream, kind of talking about, once you start to make these customizations, again, that kind of trickle down, that all the different places you have to change because of this really is more than I want to change. So I'll just say one last time, I'm not a big fan of this feature. It's why I punted it for a really long time. The whole premise of Blueprint is to leverage Laravel's conventions, and because of that, it can kind of auto-generate all this stuff. So once you start making customizations, now those have to be tracked in kind of all the various parts of Blueprint. So that's what I'm continuing to work on here. It's not very exciting to me is kind of the ultimate point, and as such, I don't think I really want to continue the stream working on this today. I'm going to recap these two little things just to kind of demonstrate why I'm griping about this, and it just kind of like completeness from last stream, since this is a part 3. But then I'm going to jump over to issues and we're going to pick some low-hanging fruit and clean those up. In addition, let me apologize for sounding a little froggy. I am still getting over cold, whatever flu junk is around right now. So anyways, let's take a look at kind of just these two commits. So the first thing I wanted to do was make sure not to generate a migration when you have kind of this custom pivot table, right? So if you name a model a pivot and then you reference that pivot, again, this is one of those kind of use cases, that has to be accounted for. So let me bring that up as an example. So we have users and teams, and then instead of just kind of like a user belongs to many teams, that's pretty straightforward. But instead of just that being the conventional team user database and kind of virtual model, if you will, it's actually a named model, membership, and we can see the meta is true, and then we name it table user, which is the Laravel convention, but again, Blueprint wouldn't know that because you're naming this thing its own model. So for those reasons, this is the new meta stuff, and it kind of demonstrates those two new attributes that we're kind of adding in there, pivot and table. It's still the same table. There's no additional fields on it or anything, but there's a couple things about this that I want to review. First, a new bit of syntax is kind of this YAML reference, so this ampersand. So typically you would say something like team : and then the table name if it were customized. But now you can actually say, hey, reference this model. And in this case, I'm actually generating the model, but kind of the next step of this would also be if that membership model already existed. This is actually kind of cool because it introduces this new syntax, this kind of reference syntax, and I think that's going to be valuable potentially for other things that I might want to do in Blueprint down the road. So from that regard, it's been kind of nice to kind of add this feature. But we can see here that I'm stumbling into kind of all this stuff. So now because of this new meta attribute, I have to add new syntax. I have to keep track of this membership, and then we have to kind of update the code to like do pivot tables or not do pivot tables. And then if it is a special pivot table, if the model is a special pivot table, then make sure to like, use foreign ID instead of unsigned key. And now what if they have the constraints enabled? So again, all this is kind of a whip. It's incomplete. But every time I go to kind of work on one of these extra little bits, more and more to-dos keep popping up. So it's just, again, it's why I was really leery of working on this feature. So I actually don't think, I didn't really do a sound mic check. I hope everything's okay, but I don't think there's too many people in the audience today. So I'm just going to keep going. Hopefully it works. And then this next bit, which was actually kind of the whip, again, for generating that output relationship. So we can kind of take a look. Typically, this membership thing is pretty straightforward. It would generate a membership model. It would say the table that we, again, set from that last thing. Public incrementing would be true because by default, Blueprint's going to give you an ID column. Now, of course, you can say ID false. I would have to check that that would not output this as well. And then here's the hard part. Technically, if you have a membership model in your relationship for your other models, your related models, in this case, the team model and the user model, you would go so far as to say, like, this belongs to many user using membership, and then you would name that, and then you would maybe pull out the additional pivot columns that were added to that. So, and then if you were using timestamps again, with timestamps, and again, all that's generated by default by Blueprint, the ID and the timestamps. But this kind of extra bit is not. Right now, it just returns, this belongs to user or belongs to team, whichever one it is. And that's why this test is failing if we go back and look. So all the tests are failing for this because of those two things. It's actually generating, again, that pivot model correctly, which is good. We worked on that last time. But these are kind of all the incomplete pieces. So I think once these are done, and once I can kind of turn on timestamps and turn off auto incrementing, and I can kind of test all those, then I'll probably merge this. And that's going to kill, 2 or 3 issues right away, which is great. But again, a lot to still do here, actually, and you can kind of see, I still don't think even after that it's going to be complete. There's definitely going to be some areas where, again, if someone references that membership model in a view, maybe the generated query doesn't look right then. I just don't really know. So, yeah, there's probably going to be a lot of downstream issues when this gets merged, which, again, I know I said I wouldn't say it again, but that's kind of why I'm not a big fan of this feature. It really just kind of goes against the core values of Blueprint, but enough people have asked about it over the years where I think it makes sense. So, excuse me. Anyway, let's get away from that for a little bit. Let's kind of get recharged and work on some of these other issues that are floating out here. So I think what I'm going to try to do today is tackle this one and this one. Again, some of these other ones that are already marked Hacktober are related to that meta bit. So I'll return to it next week for sure. But I think today, let's switch gears. Let's get a little fresh, and we'll kind of go from there. So, okay, so Mailable should generate its template file. This one was pretty obvious, actually, and I'm surprised I didn't do it to begin with. It's been around for about a year now, and in fact, it's almost exactly a year. But basically, it generates kind of this view name, and that's a bit lame. I think there is a convention for putting things under like email or emails or whatever, and then to kind of go through and set that view automatically, and then potentially even allow the user to kind of specify, a custom view if they wanted, like view equals, email dot whatever, right? Now, again, I don't think there's anybody in the audience today, but if there is, if the count's wrong for some reason, I think I name my stuff emails. I'd have to get out. I don't know why I name it plural, but I think I name it plural, or maybe Laravel generates one plural. I don't really know. Let's go take a look. Laravel.com. Mailables. Let's just see if there's an example in here of emails dot. Yeah. So Laravel is actually putting it out as emails. There is precedence in the documentation to be plural. And so for those reasons, again, while it might not be generated that way, it is something that can be found in the docs. And that's good enough for me to basically determine that's a convention, or to deem that a convention. Okay, so let's get this working. Again, maybe just with that caveat that instead of email dot, it would be emails. So I like this. This was a good feature request, so good job here. They kind of said, hey, here, they followed the template, first of all, but they also kind of said, here's what's going on, here's what I'd like to go on, and here's maybe even some additional requirements. So this is pretty cool. It's nice and clear. It's not cluttered with code samples. It's not, unformatted. It uses all the nice markdown formatting that's available to you. Okay, so let's get in here and let's kind of write a test. In fact, all of the old tests should actually end up working, so we really just need to go take a look at the fixtures for mailables to kind of see, let's see here. So look at mailables. So mail configured, view name. Okay, these are the fixtures that come out, of course. Post published. So really, I don't think I need to make any new test cases. Excuse me again. I think I really just need to update these that exist, because it's all going to be automatic behavior, and then again maybe write a new one where I pass in with a view statement. So let's update the existing ones to kind of change that generation, and then we'll kind of backfill it from there. So this mailable configured should come across as email. Whoops, I'm in the wrong screen. Emails, and then automatically it would be like review post. All right, and then this one would be emails, and then published post, published post. There's no data here, so that's fine. Is there data with this one? There is. Okay, so the data is public, so again, we're not gonna have to worry about like passing with or anything like that. Let's keep going down. This is review post again, so we've got emails and review post, all right. And then again, more review posts. So emails, review post. Let me fire up Docker, not plural, review post. Okay, so we should get some failures here. That are gonna let me know which test cases are failing, and then there really shouldn't be anything to change other than me jumping right into the code. So by default, it should automatically generate the view when the view doesn't exist. Again, I might be able to update one of these test cases to give it some nuance that says, oh, this thing already exists, so like this other stuff's not called. So I may end up doing that. In the meantime, let's let Docker fire up. Thomas, but for some reason we use singular. Yeah, again, some people use singular, some people use plural. The next part of this will be able to pass view, and in which case, if you are using view, you would be able to say like view email dot whatever, and it would use that here. So that'll be the second leg of this. But the first leg is going to be upgrading the existing fixtures, running the tests, and then kind of seeing it work. So, ooh, crap. Git stash, git checkout master, git pull, git checkout -b, mail views. Let's just say generate mail views. All right, git stash pop, good. All right, and let's get into the shift runner here. That's just kind of my local Docker image. And vendor bin PHP unit. I don't know why only one of my ear pods is like giving me sound here. Let's see what's going on. Where's my sound? Normally you get like a little ear pods buddy up here. Oh, maybe because the left is only 12%? That's strange. I wonder why the left is only 12%. Okay, so we're seeing now that it's not expected. It's not expected, and output uses return types, all these things. So I should have got 3 or 4 errors. Only got 3, which is weird because I updated 4 fixtures, but maybe there's some overlap. So that's okay. Or maybe one of these isn't used anymore. I don't know. We'll find out. But let's go ahead and get into our mail generator. I'm pretty sure this is what's going to matter. And we've got this mail stub. And let's kind of take a look at this. Okay, so it basically loops over the controllers and sees if you have any mail statements. Cool. and then it gets the statement path. Otherwise, it's going to populate the stub. And we would probably want to go so far now as to also create some additional stuff. So here's the statement. My question would be, what is statement at this point? Statement is a send statement. Cool. Okay. So I would want to populate stub. Just trying to think here. Right now we're populating the mail, but then we would also want to populate the view as well, but only if it didn't already exist. Get statement path. So basically we're saying if the mailable already exists, then the assumption is that, you know, so does the view and everything for it. So I think this is pretty fair. We wouldn't want to we would want to continue for sure there. And then we would want to go so far as to say view is equal to this get mailable view. What is like, oh, I think I already closed it. No, I didn't. What do they call it here? View data, plain text emails, configuring the view. Yeah, they just call it view. Okay, get mailable view path, and then we'll pass in the statement, I guess. What's statement mail? This dot mail. What does this return? What is mail? It's just a string. We would probably here say view. I think that would be the most helpful. We'll just say get view path because we're already in mail. It's a little bit silly. I don't know why I call that get statement path. It's kind of strange. And then we'll say if, we can just do the same thing with path here. That's kind of, it's already been used. And now we'll continue. And then otherwise, we would create, we wouldn't call this populate stub. We would probably just call it like create view. All right, let's generate these. So get view path is basically just going to return like emails dot, or well, it's a path. So it would be resources dot emails dot whatever, right? I think so. What does statement path do? Mail, yeah. All right. I don't think we allow you to set. I don't think we allow you to set the other path, the resource path. Do we? App path. Is there like a resource path? There isn't a resource path, so I think we can safely assume. Where does this come from? Blueprint app path. Let's just make sure we don't allow you to configure any other things. Where are all the paths? Oh man, app path. Okay, so you can only configure app path at the moment. So the easiest thing to do here would just be to get rid of that. And we would basically say resources, views, emails, or well, it's not just emails. It would be the view and then .blade.php, because the view is going to be, the view that you pass in would be like emails .whatever. I would expand that. So yeah, I think that's all fine. Let's go back to where we were, which is here, and then let's generate this. And then this would basically return this view. Do we set the view? We don't set the view. All right, so we would return this view, or there's a difference between view and view path. There's a difference between view and view path. Okay, so the default would be emails dot, and then the slug. I think we can use str slug for this name, or what's it called? This mail. And it doesn't seem like we're using that. Okay. And then we'd want to now capture view, so let's, it seems like it's acting like it already has it, but it shouldn't. Let's type. Type is strange. Let's do view. We're not gonna set it up. That's very strange that 2 is allowed to be after the other stuff. That's not right. That's not right at all. That's very strange. Who calls this? Yeah, it never gets called without pretty much all the stuff. So I think we can drop this 2 equals null. That's just silly. All right, what's wrong with this? View property is only read but never written. Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. Okay, so we've got that, and now it's create view, which doesn't take a stub at the moment. So let's just kind of get rid of that part. And for now, we'll just return an empty string. Yeah, we'll just return an empty string. I don't think there's any reason to do anything else at the moment. Okay, let's take one of these and see how much it blows up, because it's definitely going to blow up. Oh, mockery. You annoy me. Okay. I was hoping it would give me the path, but that's okay. We'll just go do it this way. Okay, cool. So it is generating resource views, emails, dot review. Okay, so we need to fix a little bit of that now. So let's go back, because we made an assumption about how the view path was going to come back, but it's not really how it works. So what we need to do is str replace any dots with a directory separator, which we assume is slash. Oops, sorry, comma, and then that. All right. So basically it's resources views, expand whatever you said the view was, and then tack on blade.php. So let's run this one more time. And now we see emails slash review, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's much better. So now we need to update our argument 2. It only outputs new mails. Oh, okay, so changing that actually did. Let's fix those real fast. Let's go here. Oops. Let's go here. Where's our fancy? We must call this like, do we call this directly? No, we don't call this directly. What's wrong with this? Where is it claiming it does that? Send statement 40. Controller lexer 54. Argument 2 must be of type string, null given. Oh, do we type int it? We do type int it. So it can be null. That's basically what we're saying. All right, that's better. Okay, so now we're back to our failures. Let's pick one of these and get it all the way across the finish line. So we'll say filter equals that. And now we need to clean this up because it's actually going to generate one of those resources differently. And did I make that a starting slash? Because that's not good. Where do you get called? You get called here. Yes, I did. That needs to be that. Okay. All right, that's a little better. Now let's go. The slug actually didn't change that the way I wanted. I would have wanted a dash in there. I think they call that kebab case, maybe? Maybe it's not what I thought. Maybe it's kebab? What does kebab do? Let's take a look. It makes it snake, which changes the UC words and then lowers it. Yes, that is, I want kebab. There we go, review dash post. There we go, that's what I expected. Okay, and then we're trying to fix output, output writes mails. Okay, let's take a look at this test. All right, we got a mail stub. We got our constructor stub. We exist. App review post. Okay. Does it exist? No. Return false. Good. Okay, it's going to potentially make the directory if it doesn't exist. We probably need to do that as well. So let's take a look at that. Where would we do that? Probably up higher. So after we put this, we need to do the same thing for kind of its view. So now we're going to say, does the view exist? Sorry, right here. Now we're going to say, does the view exist? So this would be resources, emails, review dash post dot blade dot php, and that should return false. And then we're going to potentially call make directory. I guess we just blindly make the directory. Is that how we do it? That's kind of strange. Oh, I think create says if it doesn't exist, then do it. Okay, fair enough. So we're kind of always returning false here on the expectation that the directory exists. So I guess it's going to make it each time, which is a little bit strange, but hey, whatever. So here we would make resources, views, emails. It's basically what we would make. All right. So we make that, and then we would want to put, we need to copy this same thing for the put. Let's leave ourselves some space here so we can see the difference between these two mailables. And now we're going to put this out with kind of nothing at the moment. We're going to change that, but for now, let's just see that works the way we want. Okay, and then we need to do the same thing for this post published, which is weird because it should receive exists twice, return false, return true. Oh, okay. The mail already exists. Now it's going to, we're going to kind of do the same thing. I don't know why these are should versus expects. Let's change them and see if that works. And now in this case, we're going to say resources, emails, and in this case, true on the second invocation, which would mean down here, we don't need that code because it's already going to exist. All we're going to need to do now is change this to published. Uh-oh. Drop-off was good. Let's turn off those. Do not disturb for an hour. All right. Cool. Drop-off was all good, Mom. No problem. Izzy did great. I'll text her that later. Okay, let's finish up with this created bit here. So we're going to assert the equals on this created, and we need to bring up these kind of additional resources that we're making now. I wish the testing of this was a little less like, I don't know, it feels so dense anytime I look at it. Anyway, let's see if this passes. It does not. It's a little bit off. What'd I miss? Resources, views. Oh, I missed views. Duh. Let's fix this to say, I had it right in the make directory spot, but not in the output spot. Let's try this again. Okay, method exists, resource emails, publish post. Method exists exactly one time. Method exists. Publish posts. Exists. Why didn't the publish posts, did I do this wrong? Publish posts. Resources, emails, publish posts, blade. Return false. Mailables. Why didn't it get there? Let's find out. So create statement, method is this, create, get view path, if it exists, otherwise create view. Let's see if we get down here. So we'll just var dump, I guess the statement mail real quick. Let's just see which one we get down here with. Okay, so we get down there with review post and we get down there with publish post, but now method exists called one times, but called 0. Resource? Oh, okay, well let's see, maybe I got the path name wrong for some reason. The path name is resource views emails published post, published dash post. Is this, oh, resources emails. I still have resources emails in the wrong spot somewhere. Where did I mess that up? Right here. Why didn't my thing get all of them? I guess I didn't hit Command G or Control G enough. Views, right? Okay, a little bit farther. Now what's wrong? App mail. Oh, okay, now what's wrong is we need to put it here. So it's actually generating everything correctly now. And again, we can clean up that stub with something, you know, a little better if we want. But I think now let's go get the mail generator to actually populate its stub correctly by outputting the view. So the simplest thing to do would just be to change view to be send statement view. And then we would need to go update the mail stub to have view name here. I think that's what we're doing, right? Let's see. There we go. Awesome. All right, let's get rid of my var dump. Okay, one last thing here, and then I think we're pretty close. Let's make sure we're still green. Okay, we are. Okay, one last thing. It'd be nice if that stub that it generated wasn't necessarily just empty. I think if we go look at some of these other stubs, like I think there's a view stub here, you know, we do kind of put out like a comment. So I think it would be nice if there was also potentially a comment that gets output as well. So let's just say something like, we could say like mail dot view stub, I think is we can call this. Does anyone know? I haven't done this before. Again, I know there's not too many people in the audience right now, but there's some things I think where you can, like, if I wanted to say something like app post, or app models post, can you do something like that in your mail stub, like where you create a reference? I always forget. Looks like I don't even have my key light on either. Hey, there I am. I'm bright now. Anyway, let me know if you know that in the audience or not. I think there's a way you can like gain access to it in the view. I think that'd be a nice little bit of polish of like, here's what your mailable is getting, So otherwise, what do we do in this view stub? We got this view template. So yeah, otherwise I think we could just say something like, mail, or class even, mailable template. I think that would be or template, yeah. Template for, yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that'd be a good start. It'd be nice to know, again, if anybody knows this, but I think at the least we could start with something like this. So if you know that other syntax, I think they'd be like a nice little PR someone could look into, but I don't think it's required to get this off the ground. So let's update our generator stub, or well, let's be good here and update our test first. So our test should now say, instead, let's pull out the fixture. I'm gonna close the chat here so I get a little more room. We could pull out this fixture for mailables published post view dot blade dot balde dot blade dot php. There we go. Okay, so we'll take that, we'll make this as well. So let's go copy this. Let's copy this. So we'll touch fixtures, tests, fixtures, that. All right, and then let's make another one for our empty one up here. And this is review post. And we'll kind of do the same thing here. Whoops. Fixtures, that. Okay. And let's copy this stub out. And it was like review. So this instead should be, do you think it should say review post mailable, maybe? Is that prettier? I don't know. I don't know if that's prettier or not. We'll see. And then copy this, bring this up here, boom, and publish post. Publish post. There we go. That's a little better. All right, and so now when we run this again, we should get a failure because it doesn't do it that way. And then also, this is kind of weird to be on multiple lines. Let's just get that all back to 1. Get that all back to 1. Let's go back up to our stub. All right, and then let's go back to mail generator. And I think what we're going to have to do now is pull in our mail.view stub, and this will be the view stub, which may never get used, but whatever. And then down here, we would go back to passing in the view stub. Yeah. We never use method here either. That's strange. All right, so this is pretty much the same as our populate stub. Yeah, see, I think there's a good PR opportunity that if you were saying, type hints or all that kind of stuff, like it would maybe generate that extra little bit. That would be nice. So let's change this to class. Or where is class? We don't even need to guess here. We can just get the right one. And then we don't even need to do anything else because we're just going to return it. So this would be statement. I don't know why we call that send statement, but whatever. And then this would be string stub is what's coming across now. And if I go back up to create view, we got view stub. I don't really like that that's underscore view stub. It'd be nice if it just said view. But whatever, I guess it's descriptive. All right, let's see if this works. Nope. Null given. Null given. Why are you null? Let's get rid of that. It's not used. Oh, it's not stubbed out. It has to be stubbed out. It's up here at the top. Yeah. We have to stub out the things that we need. So basically it expects mail.viewStub, and it should return mail.viewStub. All right. There we go. All right, cool. Okay, let's get rid of the filter and run all these. And of course, they're not going to work. So we can attempt to kind of fix this quickly. Again, I don't want to take the whole stream on this one, but I might end up taking that long. All right, let's at least go fix some of these other tests now. So let's get rid of this. And let's find anywhere we're doing this, which is a couple places, and we're always going to have to do that no matter what. Okay, so we're back to our failures. Instead of fixing these other tests, which I think we can see is just more test setup on my part, so I don't think there's any reason for me to do those on stream. I'll fix those up before I PR it. What I would like to do is two things. One, I would like to create the code to pass in a specialized view, and then two, I would like to have a test case that made sure it didn't create the stub if it happened to exist, or didn't create the view if it happened to exist. So let's find a simple little test case here. I guess this one is our simplest. So let's copy the one that we just updated. Where were you? Mail output. Oh, I must have duplicated that somehow. All right, let's copy the one we just fixed, which is this. And what I would like to do is output writes mail, but not template. All right, and then let's clean template. Let's clean this up where this returns false. Excuse me, sorry. And we wouldn't even call that anymore. And it's fine. Review post is fine. We're not going to try to mess with anything. It shouldn't call makedir anymore, and it shouldn't call, or sorry, this is going to return true, and it shouldn't end up calling anything else. So now we can just get rid of all this other crap. Whoops. Not that much. Let's stop here. And we'll need to maybe not do so many send statements there. We'll have to see what other draft files we use in this. But the point is, we should only end up creating, or well, no need to write a special fixture. Let's only create these two. So let's actually bring a couple of those statements back to life. So we'll say return true for the view. We don't want to make anything, and we don't end up putting the view out. And then when we go here, it's fine to go ahead and put that out. And then here we would test that the view existed, in which case we would return true. So we're not going to expect anything to be put out. And then we wouldn't expect anything to be created. So basically the same exact test, but we just kind of toggled those existence checks to say that it already existed. And then finally, that makedir I think this needs to go back to being twice. And we would just return false. I don't think we need to change anything else there. So let's say filter that. It auto passes. Okay, cool. And then just to kind of prove that this would break if I said false here. Yeah, see, it actually puts it out in the output. So good enough. All right, cool. I think that's a good test to prove that little line of code that we have for the if statement. So now the final thing would be to kind of create one of these similarly, but this one we could strip down, and we could do something kind of fancy here. We would say output writes mail with custom template. Okay, cool. So we have our view stub, we've got our constructor. Again, we're not going to generate multiple mail here, so we can just say true. I'm not trying to test all the world here. We will call resource views emails. And in fact, let's go ahead and put this under like admin or something, just to kind of demonstrate that it can handle like a super nested view. So here we're not gonna make the dir. We are gonna output review posts, or well, it won't be review posts. Let's just say something like I don't know. We'll just call it like new admin or something like that. Or added admin. There we go. Good enough. And this will be added admin. And this will be added admin. And it'll be under admin. And we'll return false. So we'll make the directory of admin. That sounds good. And then we'll put this out under admin and added admin. And this would be the same thing here, but just the view portion of it. All right, and then we don't want any of this other stuff. See you later. And this will be send statement with view, maybe. And then finally, app mail added admin. Oh, you know what? It'd be nice if this was under, if that was nested as well. I think that'd be nice. Admin, added admin, whoops, added admin, and get rid of those two. All right, cool. And I think we can probably go back to just having this on one line. I don't know. That's a little gross now. Let's go back. There we go. Okay, so we need to touch up a couple of these guys. So let's do that. Touch tests fixtures. Test fixtures that. Touch. Well, just get rid of the view part. All right. And then let's go clean these up. So we'll go to admin. Added admin view, that's pretty straightforward. Let's just copy. Let's copy this review post because it's really going to be the same thing. Paste this in. We'll call this added admin, and we can change this to maybe just be user or something. Oh my gosh, user. There we go. Added admin, and this would be emails.admin. And this would be mail/admin. Yeah, let's see if that works. That's nice. All right. And then finally, template for added admin. All right, cool. I think I did that right. Okay, I would definitely expect this to explode. Okay, fixture is missing, so let's fix that. So let's touch this. Oh wait, that was the wrong fixture. Oh, it's not blade.php. That was my fault. Let's take this, close this, paste that, delete that, run this again. All right, so now it's this one. And let's go to send statements YAML. Let's change this up. And send statements with view would be the same thing. And we'll just kind of get rid of this, I think. Let's call this admin. I don't know how I would type that yet. I don't know how I would nest. I don't think that's going to work, but let's just pop this off for a second. And let's just put this back to user. Yeah, I don't know if I can nest that. We'll find out. And then let's just pass in user for completeness. And then here we would say view. And here we would say emails.admin. Get out of my way, thing. Emails.admin.added. Yeah, let's call it added. Let's call it added. That's much better, because that's actually custom. All right. Again, let's see this explode. Okay, so it doesn't seem to honor my slash, and it's still calling it review post because it needs to be added admin. So it expected this, but it really got that. And it's because it's not, it seems like it's not honoring my little bit here. Yeah, that might be a separate issue to namespace those underneath. Maybe, do I do it? No, you don't do it that way. It would be namespace the other way around. It seems like it actually worked, but who knows if it generated that correctly. It really shouldn't be that. That's kind of funky. It really should be added admin, I think. Okay, so added admin to user with user views emails blah blah blah. Okay, so let's not worry about the nesting of the mail just yet. That's not really what we're trying to test. That's kind of a compound test. So let's clean that up first. This added admin, let's drop admin, and let's go back to not that one. I think this is fine. This is just going to be added. That's good. And review post can be closed, mail configure can be closed, and then the test. Let's take off this part. Okay, so now the problem is it doesn't seem to be honoring the view. And it's because it's not added admin anymore. It should just be, it should create that. And what it really created, expected admin added, but really it did added admin. Okay, that's because the parser, yeah, this is ugly. That's because the mail lexer or the statement lexer doesn't know to pull in that view. So I think this will work. Right now it's just assuming it's the name of whatever we called the thing, but it's not. It needs to take the name from the statement that we passed in, but that little segment is not getting parsed out. So that's why, excuse me, that's why this is failing. So let's see if we can fix that real fast. Let me get a drink. Let's finish this one up and then I'll call it quits. Mail lexer, there's no mail lexer, but there's a statement lexer, and there's a statement lexer test. And what we would need to do here is it returns it. Is there something in here for like mail? Yes, there is. It returns a send statement, It returns a send statement, it returns a send statement, send statement, so many send statement things. Just find which one of these to use. Here we go. Let's stop here. Let's copy this one out. And we'll say it returns a send statement to and with type notification model. So it returns a send statement to and with type notification. Let's just say with custom view. That's all I really care about here. So we'll say notify tokens, notify tokens, notify. Oh, okay. So this this really needs to say send, I think. Yeah. Let's back this up. It's really this one that I want. Let's borrow this. And we're going to move that a little closer to home. So let's borrow this, because it's not actually a notification. I see the difference in these tests now. So let's go back up here to where we copied that code from, and it'll say it returns a send statement with custom view. So we're going to say send review notification to post author with foobar baz. View is like emails or email dot review post or something like that. It doesn't really matter. And here we would say type notification with facade. Where are we changing that? Why are we still in the wrong spot here? Oh, it's because they named it notification. I see what's going on here. We need to go even higher with this. This send statement test is like massive because it parses out all the statements. It's nice to keep these grouped together, but I wish those were like, it returns a notification statement or something, because it's a different statement altogether. Okay, and really kind of to follow the naming convention super strict here, we could say something like, review post, and it returns a send statement to, with, and view. All right, so to, with, and view. Cool. Okay, so if we analyze that, so finally, now that we got it all copied around, we would expect the view to be email dot review post. And to that point, oh no, that needs to stay that. To that point, we should actually go back and add, this should be emails.reviewPost, and this should be emails.reviewPost, and this should be emails.reviewPost. Same with this. I should probably give that like a more distinct name, but that's okay. Okay, dispatch. Okay, so that's be all we need. Let's copy this. We're gonna run a whole new test suite here. It returns a send statement to, with, and view. Failed asserting that two strings are, oh, see, I copied the wrong test yet again. This is review post. All right, so foobar baz. Okay, so that's what's happening. Baz is basically getting parsed out with additional data here. So that's our issue. Okay, so that's a good enough failure for me. Let's go clean up our lexer to get down here where it finds send statement, and let's kind of parse this out. So analyze send. It extracts tokens. Object with extract tokens. Ooh. Ew. That's nasty. Extract tokens, object. We're gonna have to do something like view here. Yeah. We'd have to do something like that. I think yeah, this is kind of gross. I see why 2 is potentially null now. We're gonna have to do the same thing for view and say, look, if you've set a view and anything there's no spaces in that view, then we would actually end up pulling it out. So we'd have to do the same thing for view. And this would mean that we would potentially pass it or not pass it. So we don't even need to set it anymore. We would just end up setting it in the model. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll show you what I mean. Sorry, my still recovering again from my. So string. Okay, so we pull the views out of what we matched, and then we string replace matches 0 out of the statement. So we chunk it out of the statement. Cool. And then we send the statement on with view. Basically now. I don't want to go so far as to change it. I kind of wish view would be like here, but that's a pretty nasty breaking change for kind of no reason. So I'm just going to throw it on the end. Although I did just change the signature of this anyway, but that was a PHP error, or not a PHP error, but that's like a deprecation warning. So like, I don't know. Should I go ahead and do it? Should I go ahead and do it? You're gonna have to update the signature of this method anyway if you're overwriting it. This is not necessarily a breaking change from the user's perspective. It would be a breaking change for downstream packages that are overwriting the send statement. And I'm okay with that. My compatibility is more about the end user than it is people that have made add-ons. So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do it. No, I'm not. I changed my mind. I chickened out. It's not that common to pass the view. I'm fine with it being at the end. So we'll say view here, but what I will do, let's go ahead and run this test. What I will do, emails, posts. Okay, so yeah, we're not sending enough arguments now, so let's go fix all that. So here we are, and here we aren't. Analyze notify. What is this? Oh, it's a notify statement. Do notifications have views? I don't even know. I don't even know if they do or don't. I think what we need to probably do in this case then is go back to our, let's kind of get back to our roots here. Let's actually not type in, or sorry, not, let's give it a default value. Let's get back to just the failures that we care about. Okay, so now the issue is it's not honoring kind of our specialized view name. Everything else is working, so that's good. So we fixed the whole thing where it wasn't parsing the data correctly. That's great. But now it's actually not kind of setting the view. So what we would need to do here is actually what we do down in view. So I'm just going to clean this up by saying this view is the simplest thing to do here. And then up here is where we would actually set this. So we would say this view equals view or the emails, and now we pass. And if we go way back up to our template thing, we output writes mail with custom template. Okay, Method exists. Should be called one time, but called. Oh, I changed its name. All right, so back to our original test. Somewhere in here, I still call something probably review post, which shouldn't be called review post. There it is. It should really be called added admin. So problems with copy and paste. Okay, so now the issue is, again, I named that just added, kind of on a whim there. So let's change this to added. And this should be added. And there it is, added. Beautiful, we're back to passing. Okay, so let's get out of Docker land. Let's close this up. And let's just kind of quickly review our changes here. Okay, so we're pulling in a view stub to be able to populate. We remove this unused method here, so that's fine. PHP Storm just kind of hinted at that. And now what we're saying is if we create a mailable, as we've done before, then we're going to go ahead and check to see if you have or the view path. And that's the whole point of this particular feature, is to go ahead and generate that view for you. I don't know why we weren't doing it in the first place, but again, a nice little bit of generation that can happen. So check to see if the view that would be for this mailable exists. If it does, then same as before, we can just go ahead and continue out of there. Otherwise, go ahead and create the view as well. And so maybe we can change that to populate view or something instead of the stub. So I'll probably go change that name just real fast. So we'll say yes. And then in the private methods here for the same class, mail generator, we create the view. So again, we just replace that out of the stub. And then here we get the view path, view resources, the kind of path expansion of whatever the view name is that you used, and then assume that it's blade.php. Again, blueprint leveraging conventions. If people want to customize these paths, or they don't want to use Blade, or they want to use a text-based email, or whatever they want to do, feel free to send me a PR. But this is out of the box good behavior, conventional with Laravel. So we added the new view stub in there or view placeholder into the stub. In our statement lexer, we're going to parse out view if it's set. So here, if we find kind of that view syntax, we're going to pull it out, just like we do with to. And then we're going to pass it down. Otherwise, let's see here, where are we? In send statement, we now save the view and we string kebab it. So I did change the method signature here. It's not super awesome, but technically this was kind of a bit of a deprecation warning in PHP 8. So that's pretty nasty. I don't know why that was ever even allowed. I must have missed that when someone PR'd it or something. So we can allow it to be nullable and then view. So again, I think view is potentially an uncommon thing to set, so I'm fine putting it at the end with the default value in this release. But again, I might want to change that signature down the road. So we'll say yes here, and then just a little accessor method. Here in the stub, we got that placeholder that we're using. Great. And then all of our test generation that got updated. So I'm not going to really worry about these. And then our fixtures that got updated, not going to worry about those. And there we have it. Those were our changes. Anything else was a new file. So of course the stubs. So at this point, I'm fine just adding everything. Git commit -m. Generate mailable template. We'll say blade template just to be super specific. Git push origin head. I'll make a PR for this. Oh, one last thing I want to do before I forget. Let's go in this mail generator. And I think down here, we call this populate everywhere. Let's just change that real quick to populate view stub. There we go. I feel better about that. Git add dot, git commit -m, rename, git push origin head. Cool. No, what happened? What did I break? Git pull -r. That's strange. Oh, I have CI set up. I have CI set up, so I think it automatically must have patched. Yeah, that's fine with me. Okay, we'll nah that out. and, or well, I'll clean this up and PR it off stream. I think we've done enough here. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for watching live. Glad people ended up joining after the fact here. So again, next week I'll continue on with the low-hanging fruit, and then I'll finish up the month with maybe kind of revisiting and hopefully launching that meta key. So thanks again, and see you all next Wednesday.